You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Again, you're listening to The Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, our virtual show, Obvious. It's our Thursday, April 23rd show. I'm your host, Tina Mitchell.
I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
And we are your local mortgage experts. We're here to help you build a strong financial blueprint 1 week and one show at a time. If you're listening to our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And I'm excited for our conversation with Susan Ward, which is definitely a 1 percentile in the real estate space. And she's with Real Living at Northwest Realtors. Susan, welcome. Thank you.
Hi. I'm myself.
Hello. I know it's just, I know it's a little different here with our Zoom system. And a little bit about Susan. Every client is different. One of the things that you understand and makes them, one thing that Susan does is she understands what makes them different. Susan was a full-time realtor with Real Living Northwest Realtors. There are many different variables in buying a home, especially with the most interesting time that we are today. It's really important to educate a buyer, allowing them to focus on what's important to them and to be in tune to the types of properties that her clients love. And people just call her amazing and successful through the buying process.
Aw.
Keelan, you want to ask her the first question?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know that was on me. This is a virtual thing. Usually it's kind of an interesting break. Yeah, so I want to elaborate, Susan. Like I said, great time to buy a house. If I wanted to go purchase a house right now, I know there's a lot of questions around going to see homes, and you alluded to that with getting pre-approved. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So, of course, a lot of people's concerns are we even allowed to still look at houses, right?
Yeah.
So we are definitely allowed to look at houses, but there are strict guidelines now with the CDC. So there's a couple of options. There are still people out there who are nervous to go out. And I am more than happy, and I do work with clients that are nervous to go into the homes. And I'm happy to say that I have all kinds of technology that you guys can choose from. WhatsApp is my favorite app. It seems to be the best one that works. So I'll actually take you through a walkthrough of the home. And, that's way better than any photos, really. You can really get a better picture of what the house looks like. So number one is remote showings. And of course, we are still doing the in-person showings, but we do have the guidelines to follow. We do have pre-approvals are required. We do have to set appointments. Appointments need to be set strictly. We don't want to run into another agent. So those are the options that we're doing right now. So yes, absolutely, we can go look at homes, and I'm showing a lot of homes right now. Busy.
Yeah, I'm working with Susan for quite a while. It's just really great to see all of us navigating and doing new things and doing it with a level of excitement and ownership and leadership and our space. So Susan, let's talk about the safety requirements to protect the seller, to protect you, to protect the buyers. What's that look like?
Yeah, sure. I touched on it just a little bit, but as I said, appointments. The reason they're doing that is because there are still a lot of people buying, and we're only allowed 2 people in the house at a time. Literally. So if I'm going house hunting with a couple, one person has to stay out of the house, and so things are taking a long time. So remember, when you're scheduling showings it's going to take double the time, because only one person at a time plus the agent. So that's number one. I touched on the fact that you have to be pre-approved. They want to see that pre-approval. They're also requiring that you review the Form 17s. The Form 17 is the document that the seller fills out to disclose any issues with the home. So they're really not looking for door kickers, or what is the saying? Door kickers right now. They want people who have gone through the documents. They want people to look through the CC&Rs. They want people to look through the preliminary documents. They want people to look at the Form 17s and certainly have a solid pre-approval in order to schedule that showing.
So Susan, when the buyer going in there, are they required to wear the mask and gloves, or what does that look like for the responsibility the buyer must take?
They're not, it's not mandatory. However, I do provide rubber gloves. I do provide the disinfectant. A lot of agents, and we do care kits at the door when we've got a listing. People come in and you can wash your hands with the disinfectant and gloves. So we do ask shoes off, that type of thing. So it is recommended. And I always give my clients proactively, the disinfectant when we leave. Please wash your hands. And so, it's not required, but it is a safety thing.
So Susan, there's some extra steps that we have to take, and it's going to take a little bit more time, but I heard there's some fantastic deals out there at this point. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
That is something I hear a lot, and I sure wish that was accurate. It's absolutely not accurate, because guess what? We still have a lot of buyers. And the thing about the buyers today is they have solid approvals, right? Remember, everyone has to be underwritten. Almost, they've got to have a solid approval. So every single buyer that's looking right now are approved, and there really aren't a lot of homes on the market. So everybody is fighting for these homes. So yes, I am still seeing multiple offers. I mean, the good news is that the homes that are on the market are going to have a lot of preparation to sell. So for sellers, this is a great thing. I know everyone's worried about whether they should sell or not, but honestly, it is still a busy market. And it depends on the area and how the house looks, of course, and making sure that agents aren't overpricing.
Well, our clients went in on a multiple offer last night. Did we hear anything yet?
Yep, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. We'll find out.
maybe after the show. Yes.
Yeah, and we had to go quite a bit above asking. So we'll see. A lot.
We'll see.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, if you don't, go ahead, Keelan.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I kind of set you up there, Susan. So you killed that, because the reality is it was the busiest market in 13 years where we went into this. Every offer I've gotten was multiple offers.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah. Keelan is Keelan is good at setting up the guests, and they seem to nail it every time.
You killed it.
Love it. You passed the test. So Susan, let's shift over to buyers. Let's say that our buyers that made their offer at 9:00 last night, they get their offer accepted, or anybody that's listening. And a common question is, what about the home inspection? How is that process happening?
Well, good news. Like? Short and sweet answer. We are allowed to do inspections, but only the inspector and only the agent. So what I do, and my clients love this, is the inspector gets through his inspection, and my inspector will set up on the kitchen counter or a table. And what we do is we do a live chat. So we get everybody up on WhatsApp, and we share the screen, and we go through the inspection, and it's really just like they were here. I mean, you can't follow an inspector up onto the roof or into the crawl space anyways. So let's face it, this is an amazing opportunity for our buyers to spend some more loving time at home with their family and deal with what's the essential part of it, which is the report after the completion.
And, who knows? This may transition as a new way to do business afterwards. Oh, so the buyer is not at a 3-hour home inspection there, but maybe, interesting.
Amazing. I'm loving all the things I'm learning right now. It's really pushing boundaries, and I am so enjoying it, and I'm up to the challenge.
How cool is that you get like a GoPro version of your inspection where you can actually see what's going on, as opposed to reading through this enormous document? And that's why they have an awesome agent like you, Susan. You know exactly what's going on with that. But it is quite the document sometimes when you're walking through these inspections and making sure you can interpret it correctly, right?
That's right.
Question for you, Susan. So what about the instances, let's say you want an investment property or an instance in where the home is occupied. Is that an issue, and what extra additional steps do you have to take if there's people living in the home when you want to go view?
Yeah. So you're talking about tenants, right?
Yes, tenants.
Yeah. Okay. The norm is 48 hours notice for a tenant. But here's the problem. We are really in the hands of the tenants. So there's I show a lot of investment properties. There's a lot of great tenants, but I am running across tenants who are panicked, don't want to let anyone in the door. They don't want to show. And unfortunately, we are at their mercy. There's nothing we can do about it. Per the state new rules, we can't evict. There's nothing you can do about it. So overall, I'm finding that tenants are really good about it. And if there's the opportunity, the tenant will take my phone. We can ask them to do a walkthrough of the unit. And some of them are very workable, amicable to do that. They will do that. Or, maybe they would require a serious buyer, in other words, being under contract mutually. And then they're a lot more amicable to let people in.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I think we've got time for one more question. So I'll wrap it up here with you, Susan. Let's talk about a seller that's listening to the show today. What does it look like for them? Should they be selling now? Should they wait until this is over?
Yeah, well, the COVID-19 outbreak is certainly changing our lives, right? So, but what I can tell you, and I know you have heard this interview, is that people are still buying and selling. The tech industry is still hiring. People are still moving out of their rentals. People have to buy. So it is still a strong housing market here in the Seattle area. There's no doubt about it. I mean, let's face it. We have the perfect trifecta. We have low interest rates. We have continued low inventory. And that, well, I guess that's not really a trifecta, but we have a lot of buyers. So that's the trifecta. So we still have people who need homes. We still have people, we need people to sell. So it's a very interesting thing. And, I think that the whole thing with these open houses being restricted, I think a lot of people might be worried about that. But just remember, what we're dealing with now are way more qualified buyers, right? So we are scheduling appointments. These people are so much more serious.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome information, Susan. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And I love how we're all here, and because in studio, everybody is in the studio all through the entire show, and they get to listen. And now we're listening and watching right here all together. So anyways, I wanted to chime that in. You are listening to the Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW.